Friends, gather round. Tonight we delve into the wild world of cryptocurrency, specifically a little something called the Pi Network. Now Pi has been promising its users a magical land called Mainnet for quite some time. It's like a mythical utopia, where your mined Pi coins will finally have real-world value. You could buy stuff, maybe even a yacht, or, a slightly used toaster. The problem is, getting to this Mainnet has been about as easy as finding a decent parking spot in New York City. It's always just out of reach. The latest launch date, originally slated for the very end of 2024, has been pushed back. Again, this time to sometime in early 2025. So, what's the holdup? Let's dig in, shall we? The Pi Network, launched back in 2018, had a simple and alluring pitch-mine cryptocurrency on your phone. No need for fancy, expensive mining rigs that could heat your house like a sauna. Just tap a button once a day and boom, you're mining Pi. But when it came to actually using this Pi, well, that's where things got a little murky. See, for years, Pi existed solely within its own enclosed ecosystem. Think of it like Monopoly money, great for bragging rights within your own little game, but try spending it at the grocery store and you'll likely get laughed out the door. The promise of Mainnet was supposed to change all that. It was the grand unveiling, the moment Pi would transform from digital Monopoly money to, well, hopefully something more like Bitcoin. But that grand unveiling, it's been delayed more times than your friend who's always running 5 minutes behind. First, it was 2020, then maybe 2021. Oh, how about 2022? You get the idea. Each delay brought a fresh wave of explanations, updates, and reassurances from the Pi core team, and each time the community held its breath, hoping this time it would be different. So, what's the official word on this latest delay? Well, according to the Pi core team, it all boils down to a few key factors. First up, we've got KYC, or Know Your Customer, verification. Basically, to prevent money laundering and other financial shenanigans, Pi needs to make sure its users are who they say they are, because nothing says legitimate financial system like a bunch of anonymous profiles potentially up to no good. However, getting millions of users KYC verified is about as fun and efficient as trying to herd cats. It's a slow, painstaking process, and frankly, not everyone is playing ball. Then there's the issue of dApps, or decentralized applications, which are basically the bread and butter of a functional blockchain. These are the programs and platforms that will allow people to actually use Pi for things beyond just, well, holding onto it and hoping it turns into the next Bitcoin. The problem is, the Pi network needs a robust ecosystem of dApps ready to go at launch to give Pi some actual utility. As it stands, they're not quite there yet. And let's not forget about the good old cryptocurrency market, which is currently about as stable as a newborn giraffe on roller skates. Launching a new cryptocurrency in the midst of a volatile market is like trying to sail a paper boat in a hurricane. Not exactly a recipe for success. Now, the Pi core team, in their defense, hasn't exactly been silent during this whole ordeal. They've been releasing statements, updates, and even the occasional cryptic tweet, all assuring the community that they're hard at work and that Mainnet is totally still happening, just not yet. Patience, dear pioneers, is a virtue, and apparently a requirement for being a part of the Pi network. But even with all the communication, there's still a noticeable lack of concrete details. It's a lot of we're working hard, things are progressing, and stay tuned for updates, which is the corporate equivalent of saying we'll get back to you and then promptly forgetting you ever existed. This lack of transparency, coupled with the repeated delays, has led to, shall we say, a bit of skepticism within the community. Because at some point you have to wonder, are they just stalling for time, or are they genuinely trying to build something worthwhile? The Pi network boasts a massive global community, millions strong, all drawn in by the promise of easy-to-mine cryptocurrency and dreams of striking it rich. But this latest delay has definitely tested the patience of even the most devoted pioneers. Social media is abuzz with reactions ranging from cautious optimism to full-blown panic. Some users are frustrated, feeling like they've been strung along for far too long. Others remain hopeful, choosing to trust the process and the core team's vision. And then there are those who are using this as an opportunity to hawk their referral codes with the enthusiasm of a used car salesman on the last day of the month. It's a mixed bag, really. But one thing's for sure, the Pi network has managed to cultivate a community that's deeply invested, both emotionally and in some cases financially. Whether that's a testament to the project's potential or a sign of something more akin to a digital cult is still up for debate. So, let's say you're one of the millions of people who've hopped aboard the Pi train. You've been diligently tapping that little lightning bolt button every day, amassing a digital fortune, or at least what you hope will be a digital fortune. What can you actually do while you wait for this elusive mainnet to finally arrive? Well, for starters, if you haven't already, get that KYC verification sorted out. It's a necessary evil on the road to mainnet, and it'll save you a headache down the line. Plus, you can finally put to rest any nagging suspicions that you might be, unknowingly, a money launderer. You can also spend some time exploring the Pi ecosystem. There are a growing number of dApps in development, offering everything from social media platforms to online marketplaces. It's a good way to get a feel for what the Pi network might look like once it's up and running. And who knows, you might even find something useful. And finally, a word of caution. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. The cryptocurrency market is notoriously volatile, and there's no guarantee that Pi will be the next Bitcoin. So, diversify your portfolio, do your research, and don't invest more than you can afford to lose. Because as with any good pyramid scheme, investment opportunity, there's always a chance it could all come crashing down. Now let's be real for a second. Delays in the tech world are about as common as bad dating app bios. It's frustrating, sure, but it's also often necessary. Rushing a product to market before it's ready can be disastrous. Just ask anyone who remembers the Samsung Galaxy Note 7, a phone so prone to catching fire that it was banned from airplanes. Not exactly the kind of launch you want to replicate. In the case of Pi Network, a slow and steady approach might be the best course of action. Building a secure, functional, and inclusive blockchain platform is no small feat. It takes time, testing, and a whole lot of debugging. And while the lack of transparency from the core team isn't exactly reassuring, it's also not necessarily a sign of malicious intent. It could just be a case of them being overly cautious, perhaps even a bit naive, about the complexities of what they're trying to achieve. So for now, all we can do is wait, watch, and hope that this whole thing doesn't go up in flames. Or at the very least, if it does go up in flames, that it happens after Mainnet launches and we've all had a chance to cash out our Pi for a lifetime supply of slightly used toasters. One of the more, shall we say, interesting aspects of the Pi network is the whole price of Pi conundrum. Because, well, technically Pi doesn't have an official price, it's not listed on any major exchanges, and you can't really buy or sell it in the traditional sense. Yet, that hasn't stopped people from trying to slap a price tag on this digital unicorn. You'll find websites, forums, and even self-proclaimed experts throwing out numbers ranging from a few cents to hundreds of dollars per Pi. It's enough to make your head spin. So, what's the real value of Pi? Honestly, no one knows. It's entirely dependent on what happens when or if it finally hits the open market. Will it skyrocket to the moon like Bitcoin? Or will it crash and burn like a meteor shower of broken dreams? The truth is, anyone who claims to know the answer is either a liar or delusional. The best advice? Take everything you see online with a hefty grain of salt. Avoid making any rash decisions based on FOMO. That's fear of missing out for you non-crypto folks. And remember, it's all fun and games until someone loses an eye or their life savings.